Hey guys, welcome back to the channel. If you can't tell by that intro clip, you already know what's going down. We have two products getting installed right now. We're taking full advantage of Myers lift. We came up here for a 68, one video turned into two, but we got our good friends over at Airdog sent us a lift pump for this truck. Now, if you're unfamiliar to the 13 through 18 trucks, they have one of the worst fuel water separator and fuel filter locations on the planet. It drips all over the drive shaft. It makes a mess all over your front axle. No good. So we're going to go ahead and install an Airdog fuel system as well as the Power Driven Diesel Fuel Sump. Now, as of we're filming this video, they are waiting for some parts to come in. I don't want anybody to get rubbed the wrong way that's been waiting. I got a blemished one, so this is not one that they would sell to a customer. However, it functions normal. It just doesn't look as pretty. So we're going to go ahead and knock that out. The nice part about the Power Driven Sumps is, one second, let me grab her. Right here, they do not use a return straw. Instead, they force the return fuel to swirl up. Very nice piece. What I like about this is, I'm not really sure with our Titan tank where the sending unit is going to fall. So not having that huge straw sticking up for the return is nice because we can basically mount this sucker anywhere and not throw off our fuel level. Now, we did put a 55-gallon tank in this. It is a Titan fuel tank. Jace, don't do that, bud. Don't do that. Oh, God. Spinning wheel of death. And so we're going to put a sump on it. Now, I could have put a traditional style draw straw. Fleece sells one. A bunch of people sell them. I just didn't want that. I want the sump. I want full fuel. So this sucker should go right here. Nice piece from PDD, low profile. It uses O-ring Boss style threads here. 2 bolts, just like everyone else's, and an O-ring. Now, for the other part of our video, we do have this Airdog 165. Now, this is not something that I don't believe in myself. I promise you that. This is the latest and greatest 5G. So we got our fuel line, the optional draw straw, which again, I told you we're going to forego on that. And then we have the boost activated lift pump, boost regulated lift pump, the 5G right here. This is going to make fuel filter and water separator changes so easy. And my thought was I will just reset the dash every time the dash says we need new filters. That'll be a good reminder to do the Airdog filters. So this comes with all the brackets, the boost regulation, the pump, the line, instructions, which we don't need any stinking instructions, and we will continue on. So big thanks to the guys over at Airdog for getting us set up with this. Again, we run this on my quad cab. As soon as we CP3 swap my Duramax, we will run a Airdog on that. Meyer, what do you have on all your trucks? Yeah, we're Airdog. We're Team Airdog. Now, if you guys are Team Fast, I get it. I'm not here to talk crap on one. The thing I love about the Airdog is the same thing I tell everybody. 2,879 horsepower on one lift pump. Other than that, product speaks for itself. Now, you guys that are been around the channel for a long time, it should be no surprise that we went with Airdog. For those of you guys that are new to the channel and trying to make up your mind, hopefully this video will help you. So the big thing, I like the plastic quick disconnects. And guys, I tell you, I've had Airdogs on my trucks for years. Never had one of these break. I think they're easier to get off. Usually you just kind of twist the line a little bit, press these tabs, out they come. Comes with all of the lines that you need. And we'll get to assembling this thing, and then I'll talk about it after the fact. The big argument's always been, Meyer, all right, this is interesting. Do you mount your Airdogs with the bracket like this, or do you mount it like this?
Oh, other way.
Yeah. So David actually mounted his like this. And I think we went through the instructions once to try and figure it out. I don't remember, but I mount the Airdog like this. So Airdog sits on here like that. All right, guys, talk about on the money. 5 gallons is all that was left. So now we have our Airdog. We're gonna forego the boost reference portion on this application, but if you needed it, it's part of this diaphragm here. You simply just thread in a hose, airline, excuse me, to apply the diaphragm. In my application, being a stock truck, really a 100 would have worked, but you never know where this truck might end. I just want to be clear, my 05 started with a 165. So
that's the one on my tow truck. Oh, sorry, I have a 220 on my tow truck, not boost reference. It makes 12 pounds and it drops to like 9.5 at full chooch, which is like 1,100. So it does not need to be boost reference for like.
And then, unfortunately, we're gonna have to mount this inside the frame rail just due to the way it's laid out and everything. I wanted to let my filters hang, but they truly did design this to be mounted on the inboard side. Because if we mount it the other way, everything's backwards, lines got to cross. So we're gonna mount it on the inboard side. The single side here is your fuel inlet. So from the tank, this small fitting is gonna be your fuel return to the tank. And then this fitting here, which they do actually machine engine in now, goes there. We also have a pressure port up there. And now we're gonna go ahead and tighten this bracket up. It's these Allen bolts here, 7/16 here. And then we have our tapered bolts that fit here, so it'll bolt smoothly to the frame. And then you're left with 3 bolts to pinch it to the frame. And then we have our fittings and our line. This will go where our CP3 inlet is at. And all we gotta do is run lines in a harness. Really not that bad. All right, so Meyer's gonna finish out the 3-inch hole. I tell you what, that tank's a lot thicker than you think it is.
Oh yeah.
Look at the concentration on this man. That is a man right there. I love how you have plastic stuck to your nose.
Yeah, I feel it. Trying to keep the plastic shrapnel to a minimum.
Oh, why? This is my argument for everyone that buys a lip pump.
You spent a lot of money
You
on
spent
filters.
a lot of money on filters to be worried about some plastic. Just my take.
This is true.
That's probably because that was actually the fuel bowl.
Oh yeah.
Oh,
watch your face.
Oh, dude. All right, so here we have the hole clearly right under the basket, which is kind of what I wanted. With that PDD sump, it doesn't even matter because there's no straw there to really preload it. I mean, how much of that actually stands out, Meyer? Quarter inch bracket. So it should be perfect. We got our hole done. We got a D-bird. We're gonna go ahead and throw the sump in. I got our Airdog bracket all done up, so we'll mount that next. And we're moving right along. We got fresh lift pump, fresh transmission, and probably fresh batteries after the transmission fiasco, but it's okay. They were 3 years old. It was time. All right, so you're gonna feed. You're gonna feed the bracket in.
Just like that.
Just like that. Okay, now you take your sump and your bolts with the provided washers. These are oh God, I know the name of them. Bonded washer, thank you.
I don't know.
And they're a 5 mil.
Let me just.
And just kind of line it up. I'll be honest with you guys. This sump, if you've installed other people's sumps, very similar. So like, I mean, it's really not rocket science. Oh God. Oh God.
Hey, we found the hex key bin. It's everything.
Which way should we aim
It's
this?
gonna be all right. So I envision the hoses coming up and sneaking right here.
You think they'll be able to go through there with the e-brake cable?
No, not there. Here.
Oh, okay.
You can do you. Wouldn't want to put that there. No.
I just didn't know if we want to. Oh no, you know what? I got a 5-inch drive shaft coming.
Cause everything gonna be alright. Don't worry about a thing.
And just well past snug. Right when you feel the aluminum start to stretch the threads. Just like that. Because realistically, you just put a hole in the bottom of your fuel tank, so the chances of this going back to stock are 0. So not only did I not do this to your stock tank that you basically pay for, I did this to my aftermarket tank. I've always wanted to do this.
Yeah. It's a real baller move for sure.
Yeah.
Titans and sumps.
Titans and sumps. The only thing I don't like about this, you won't be able to see the PDD logo.
You can see it from back here, but...
You got some good brake clean. You got some seepage. I'm not sure if it's from lack of tightening or...
Squeeze it out.
Oh, I got one more turn out of it. Felt good.
And realistically, after you get some heat cycles in the tank, because plastic, it's not a bad idea to just check them again.
You heard it here first, folks. It's probably going to leak.
Nope. Basically, if it leaks, it's not our fault. Installer error.
Okay. Very nice. The only thing I wish you guys would have done.
Dude, okay, look at this, though. Did you see this?
Yeah, I do.
Dude.
Drain port.
Shh.
Drain port. Drain port would have pulled a premium.
I mean, that's something we could add. I don't know if that's...
I would take it up with R&D for sure.
Okay.
All right.
I'll mention
Okay, so sumps installed. So far, I'll give you guys like an update on this probably once we fill it full of fuel and probably goes through a season. Make sure it's up to par. But honestly, if you guys remember from before, I've always ran the XDP or the bean sumps. This one installs the same. It doesn't have the straw, which I like, because then it keeps the profile smaller, so you can literally put this under the fuel basket without throwing off your fuel bowl. And it uses O-ring Boss, which is nice, because I bet you guys designed this so you could use a 10 feed.
Yeah, so it's a 10 or a B, and then we use a -8 for 90% of the guys.
For the big horsepower guys, stuff like that, if you need a sump that's a true 10 AN line, on some of the bigger Airdogs, I'm assuming the bigger fastest, this sump comes with that already, so you can run a 10 line. But in my case of the little tow truck, in the case of our little tow truck, a 165 and an 8 will be plenty. But there she is in all her glory. Looks really cool. I like the black. You won't even really be able to see it. Well, maybe a little bit of the PTD logo, but not bad. Now with the Airdog, we have the outer bracket, the 3 bolts. We're going to feed those in from that side. And I'm going to take this lift pump that's now all bolted and feed it in from the inside. We're going to get you guys set up here. Try my best to get you guys in a good spot here. Roughly installed here. I like it. Not how I normally would have done it, but you know what? My race truck shows them off. The tow trucks just won't. That way when you get absolutely gapped by this dually, you'll never even know why. This is exactly why I hate the factory fuel filters, and exactly why we're putting an Airdog on, because this makes a mess everywhere. All over my shop floor. The bigger the drive shaft, the worse the mess. So that's one of the reasons why the one under the hood. Now, in a subsequent video, guys, I honestly don't think I'll ever get rid of this. I think I'll just leave this here because I don't want to have to screw around with all the lines up there. But up under the hood, in a later video, when we do some under the hood work, we will put the fuel filter delete from fleece in there and then clean up some of the factory fuel lines. But I just wanted to drain this fuel out and we'll be good. So I'll leave this, but we will get rid of the fuel filter. If you guys look, it's right up there, right there. We will get rid of that. Now Myra's running the harness. We got our Airdog mounted. Don't worry, Mason, I will wipe the filters down. I promise. Try to get them clocked the right way. But we got it ran. So again, this is going to be our sump feed, our sump return. This will go to our engine. So pretty nice, tucked up. I mean, really, I don't even think you'll be able to see it at all. It's kind of sad, but it is what it is, I suppose. All right, guys, and I'm not sure how you normally install your fittings, but the way I do it, so that way you're not trying to guess at hose lengths. You take the first chunk of hose, you put a line, fitting on each end, okay? Then you route them together to your sump. Then you cut it, and then you're left with the one chunk to get you to the CP3 from the pump. Now, to do this, you take a little bit of oil on the fitting. You take a torch. It doesn't have to be this specific torch, like so. I'm not going to do this, but you heat up the end and then push it together. It's so easy. And literally 30 seconds later, there she is on. Be careful. The hose end will stay hot for a little bit, but as you guys can see, I didn't even get it that hot. I mean, I'm grabbing it and it's not that hot. So we'll get this hose routed, and then I'll show you guys how we routed it once I get that line ran. So we have our sump with a P-clamp, and then I put some wire loom on this. I'm not a huge fan of it, but at least temporarily it'll work so it doesn't chafe. Then we went up. Normally I go on the other side, but this 55-gallon tank gives you a lot less room. So we went here. It's secured here, goes up and around, comes through here where it's got chafe. And then here's our feed side. Here's our return side. Meyer got our harness all done up. Meyer ran the fuel hose up to the front. So all we gotta do now is hook up the wires and hook up the fuel line. And I guess let it prime itself because this is an Airdog. And we'll be good to go.
All right. Forgot to cut the thing for you there.
Perfect. Oh, good. In case I need to check my blood sugar later. Okay, now we are filling up the tank with the 5 gallons we removed. Spilled a little bit, but that's to be expected. Batteries are still dead. So Meyer's gonna go get a charger, and I'm gonna finish up under the hood with the Airdog. That is the supply line to the CP3, and that is also going to be the wiring, which is just a positive and a negative under the hood. So all right, so working up under the hood, we're gonna run our fuel line. You guys can kind of see how it comes up there. We're gonna go on this side of the power steering lines, and then we got to go to this fitting right here. So we're going to disconnect this quick disconnect and pull this fitting out. This is your return. Sometimes you got to take the return off to get a little bit of room. Just different strokes for different folks, I suppose. But that's where we're going. For right now, I'm going to leave this line here. Like I said, later on, once we have some more time, we will reroute all this in here. But for right now, this is what we're left with. We got our fuel line swapped over. It's kind of running down there. We got one more zip tie, and then I just gotta deal with this wiring, which normally I cut this, make it shorter. I think I'm gonna just tuck it into the fender for right now. We'll deal with it later, which means never. But the reason why, in case you're wondering why Airdog always leaves the battery positives and negatives so long, I did ask this question. It is because on a Duramax, you put it on that battery, or can put it on that battery. So that is the answer to the question. But so far, pretty straightforward install, nothing crazy. Obviously, we killed the batteries in my truck, so we're kind of waiting on that. And there is our positive and negative terminals tucked around there. Put the relay on a existing stud, tuck the wires down. Can't even really see them until you look behind the battery. I like that. Fuel line's done, so all that's left on this Airdog is to prime it. All right, so we're gonna try and prime this lift pump real quick. You hear the Airdog?
I think so, barely.
Whisper quiet.
I think I hear that, don't I?
Status check.
It's definitely running. It just turned off.
Okay, hold on.
Yeah.
What?
Put fuel on it, yep. Let's try again.
It won't let me. Oh. All right, hold on. Here, you want to take the camera down there?
Have it run on the Airdog? Yep.
Ready?
Ready? Yep, you can hear it.
Is it prime, you think? You ready?
Ready.
All right, we're filling the trans, and if you guys watch the video after this, you'll know that the Airdog in fact worked. Primed right up. We never even cracked filters. Took about 4 key cycles. Keep in mind the batteries are very weak as well, which I think is hurting us in the long run. All right, as you guys saw in the transition video, obviously the first drive went well. We went ahead, filled this tank all the way up. Sump's holding great. Airdog's just pumping away. We put a pressure gauge in, and it's at 17 PSI, which is perfect. Stock CP3s, I like to see 17 to 18 at idle. When you get into the stroker pumps, stuff like that, I like to drop them down to at least 15, sometimes even lower. Like on my quad cab, they're 10 through 12 through 13 PSI. But Sump looks good, functions well. Big thank you to Meyer for letting me use the lift, drilling the hole, helping me wire, all that stuff. Thanks to Power Driven. On the Sump, I like it. Like I said, if it leaks later on down the road, I will let you guys know. So far, it's holding 55 gallons of fuel like a dream. Just as Meyer said, I am going to retorque those bolts when we get back to California, just in case they vibrate loose, compression, stuff like that. After that, we'll check the Airdog. I reset the fuel filter gauge on the dash, and I think that's the greatest way to remember to change them is it'll ping up on the dash. If I remember correctly, the dash is like 7,500 miles. It'd be the perfect time to change them. The Airdog, as usual, installed great. Brackets, lines, fittings, harness, all that stuff worked great. It is so quiet. As you guys heard, you could barely hear it with the truck off. 165 will support about 1,000, maybe 1,200 horsepower, which is plenty for this tow pig. Like I said, if you guys find yourself stock fuel, really an Airdog 100 works well. If you are more of the full send type, an Airdog 220 is what you want. So again, thanks to PDD, thanks to Meyer for letting us use the lift. Also, big thank you to Tessa for helping me keep an eye on my son that's been here all weekend. I know he had a blast. And Airdog, again, I will say it before, say it again, I'll say it a million times. I really like their product. I used to use Fast's. I just got tired of it, and I switched to Airdog. It's now been 5 years. I've never looked back. 6 years, actually. Never looked back. I like their product. Good customer service. Hopefully you guys are liking this tow truck build. As you can see, we're doing a theme here. We stuck with the 68. We built the 68. It's been doing good up to this point. We did an Airdog 165, which is not overkill, to just get rid of the factory fuel filtration system. We got some under the hood upgrades next, but if you guys are noticing, I'm gonna stay true to it. Okay, I promise you guys, tow truck, we're staying tow truck. All right, so give this one a big thumbs up. Drop your comments down below. Subscribe if you are not already, and as always, I'll catch y'all on the next one.